Are you bored when you read the Bible? Do you have a hard time getting anything out of it when you hear it preached? If yes, you are definitely not alone. And there is actually a really easy way that you can get excited about the Bible. I'll tell you that in just a second. But first we have to address why. Why do you feel bored when you read the Bible? Well, it's probably because you have hit a wall in what your circle of Christianity can teach you about the Bible. I'm a big Star Wars fan. You might even see some of the posters behind me on the wall there, and there's quite a few more. I've been watching Star Wars and reading the books and the comics and playing the video games and everything since I was like about 7 years old. I love Star Wars and I know the lore inside and out. Imagine with me that there was some class you could take about Star Wars and just the trivia about it. No one would blame me for not wanting to sit in a 101 class about Star Wars trivia. Chances are I would know most of the material. And no one would think, oh, that's your problem. You just have to sit in the class and get whatever you can out of it. There's something good to get out of it. You just have to find it. The problem is you if you're not getting anything out of it. No, you would go, it makes sense you wouldn't be getting anything out of it. You've known those basic details for a long time. Well, the same thing's true about the Bible, but we don't think of it that way. Especially if you grew up in church or have been in a church for 5, 10, 20 plus years, there's a good chance that you have learned just about everything that circle of Christianity can teach you. 5, 10, 20 years is a long time for anything, and you're going to probably be an expert in whatever field you spend that much amount of time in. If you've been in your job for 10 years, there's a good chance you know how to work the ins and outs of it. You're not really learning too much more about your current position. Now, you might be able to learn more about other positions, but in order to do so, you have to listen to people who know more about it than you. But what happens is a lot of pastors, preachers, evangelists, they're not necessarily learning about the newest scholarship on the Bible. They're focusing their study on things that have been around for a couple hundred years now. And there's only so much that you can learn from any particular way of viewing, well, any topic. So after a number of years, you will hit a wall where you have learned all there is to know from that one particular point of view. And sure, there might be little details or observations that you haven't heard before, so that's why every once in a while a sermon will stick out and you'll hear something that sounds new to you and you'll think, oh, okay, that's the kind of thing I'm looking for. But then you're going to be frustrated again the next sermon when it's the same old thing that you've heard before. You have hit the wall of 99% of the information possible in that circle that you now know. And that's not to say that those pastors or preachers or types of books or whatever it is you're getting that information from are bad or wrong. You need that foundation, but eventually you can outgrow it. Here's how to fix that. You have to broaden your circle of who you listen to about the Bible. Just like if you want to get better at your job, you have to listen to people who know more about it than you do. If I wanted to know more about Star Wars, I would have to listen to people who know more about it than I do. Or you can apply that to anything. Same thing is true with the Bible. Just because a guy gets behind a pulpit doesn't actually mean that he knows more about the Bible than you do. If you've been in church for a while, there's a good chance you know about as much, sometimes even more, than he might. But there are people out there who have different perspectives on it that you haven't heard before. And that isn't bad. That's actually a good thing. The Bible itself says that in the multitude of counselors, there is wisdom and safety. So we need to have those different perspectives. If you find yourself getting bored with Bible reading, or like you haven't gotten anything out of a personal devotion time or a sermon in a really long time, the problem probably isn't you. Can I say that again? Because that's not what most people will tell you. The problem isn't you. The problem is that you have outgrown those circles. So it's not that you are being spiritually immature so you can't get anything out of it. It's that you are actually more spiritually mature than where you were before. You are in that growth process, and that's a good thing. So if you find yourself bored with the Bible and you want to learn more, you just have to broaden your circle of the types of people you listen to. So if you usually listen to independent fundamental Baptists, start listening to people who are more evangelical. If you are an evangelical, start listening to Catholic theologians. Just whatever it is, broaden your circle to have different perspectives. That doesn't mean that you have to agree with everything those people say. Just listen to it and try to get a different point of view. And if you're wondering where to start on that, the recommended resources page on our website is a great place. We have scoured the internet for all different kinds of perspectives of the Bible, and you are guaranteed to find something on there that addresses the Bible from a different light than you've heard before.